Welcome to Same Cast Different Day podcast. I am Martell Roland.
And I am Tina Marie.
We have a lot of things to talk about on this episode, to pardons, to trials, to corrupt government. We got it all on this episode starting off. And I would like to say, I hope you all had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. I got a little something for y'all too. But before we get into that, Kilmar Abreu Garcia has still not been sent back from El Salvador to the United States. Donald Trump was told by the Supreme Court to facilitate his return to the United States, and he have yet to still do it. This order was put in like over a month and a half, almost 2 months ago, where he was supposed to facilitate his return. He still hasn't done it yet. So I'm going to talk about this at the beginning of every episode until our government facilitates the return of Kilmar Abreu Garcia. Period. Now, with that being said, Memorial Day weekend was this past weekend, last weekend, and we have a president who's just out of his mind. So I want to read to y'all the tweet that he put out on Memorial Day, and I quote: "Happy Memorial Day to all, including the scum that spent the last 4 years trying." I can't even say this without laughing. To the scum that spent the last 4 years trying to destroy our country. The radical left minds who allowed 21,000. I hate 21,000. A million people to illegally enter our country, many of them being criminals and mentally insane, through open borders that only an incompetent incompetent president approved, and through judges who are on a mission to keep murderers, drug dealers, rapists, gang members, and release prisoners from all over the world in our country.
So they can rob, murder, and rape again, all protected by the U.S.
No. What did he mean by release prisoners? Like, I don't get what he was saying. Whatever.
Maybe it's something we haven't been privy to.
He released prisoners from all over the world. I'm like, why would people get released from prison and come to America? Like, would it be?
Ain't you the one that's been pardoning people?
Exactly. What you gonna get it to? In our country, so they can rob, murder, and rape again, all protected by these U.S. hating judges who suffer from an ideology. Let
me help you finish off. That is sick and very dangerous for our country. Hopefully, the United States Supreme Court and other good and compassionate judges throughout the land will save us from the decisions of the monsters who want our country to go to hell. But fear not, we have made great progress over the last 4 months, and America will soon be safe and great again. Again, happy Memorial Day, and God bless America. Lots of exclamation points, y'all.
It's because that was I skimmed over it when I had first saw it. I didn't really read the whole thing, but as I'm like, what time of the day did he post this? Was he drinking when he posted this, or did he take his meds before making this post? It just made me wonder, what was going through his mind when he wrote this, and you could tell that he wrote it himself by the language in the tweet. It's just
kind of it's strange because was it maybe a few weeks ago we got the news about Biden and his whole fight with the cancer that he got going on. Then you turn around and the last 4 years, that's who was the president. So to me, that makes me feel like that's who he was talking about.
I don't know what's going on with this man.
Am I wrong?
I mean, you ain't wrong, but
okay.
God, that man had to be on some good drugs. Okay. So to keep the show going, because that just tickled me. I'm not gonna lie.
Wasn't his boy Elon reportedly, allegedly on
Right, on drugs
drugs?
or something they were trying to say, because he was looking. They had showed a clip of him. He was standing next to Trump in the Oval Office. He just looked off, like something was wrong. Like I don't know how to explain it. He just looked like either he was about to pass out, or he was just like damn, I'm so high. Like he need to hurry up and get this over with. Like fuck out of here and go pass out in private. Like he looked fucked up.
And he probably was. I know I had seen a clip earlier before we went live, something about he came in the Oval Office and had a black eye. But then I was confused as to why he was there because I thought he was stepping away from his position.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. And then because his position when Trump put him in office, I think that position that he had him in because he wasn't an official like elected person or actually a part of the cabinet. It was like a made up thing that Trump came up with. That position was only supposed to be for like 130, 140 some days. So that's which is why he is leaving. It's not. I don't think it's because he's leaving on his own. It's because that's just the law or the rules or how that set up where he can't be in there past like 130 some days as this leader of those.
He posted it like he made that choice.
Who? Elon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe he had good drugs. I don't know what these people.
It says, "As my scheduled time as a special government employee comes in, I would like to thank President the real Donald Trump for the opportunity to reduce wasteful spending. The DOGE mission will only strengthen over time as it becomes a way of life throughout the government." But I was reading somewhere that he said he was stepping back to like take care of his
companies and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did see that too. But then, but that's when before, like he said that and all that other stuff. That's when it was like at the beginning of May. That's when it became public that he can only be in that position for like 130 days.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so it was he making it seem like he's leaving on his own, but he's not. He's basically like being forced out. I look really dark.
Oh my god.
I do. I look like I can't say that. That's what get me canceled. So to continue with today's theme, House Republicans and silencers. Oh wait, I messed this up all wrong. So in the big beautiful bill, there was a provision put into the bill that kind of went under the radar that people didn't know about. House Republicans and silencers is including in that bill. Silencers was included in that bill at the last minute. It's the amendment provision that will remove silencers from.
What is happening today? Okay. Continue on. Do you need some more?
See, this is what y'all get. See, what happened was Tina be like, "Where's your drink at? You need a drink for the podcast." And I started drinking before the podcast. She ain't see that part, but I was drinking before the podcast, and I'm a little bit tipsy.
See, he's just leaving me out of all the fun. I got my,
It's all your fault.
I didn't start drinking till the podcast started.
Oh. Well, why you ain't tell me? Then I wouldn't have been tipsy before we started the show.
Nothing about pre-gaming.
Any other time you'd be like, "Where your drink at? You need a drink. Take a drink before." You know what, Tina? I ain't afraid. Anyway, something about the National Firearms Act. I was somewhere around there, 1934. That would eliminate the need to pay a $200 registration fee on silencers. They say silencers growing popular over the recent years. It's projected to House Republicans are projecting eliminating a tax on them that will cut about $1.4 billion from the budget over 10 years. I don't understand how cutting a tax on something is going to cut $1.4 billion from a budget over 10 years. Like, explain that to me, because ain't the whole point of having a tax on there was to collect the tax for the country to make money off a certain thing, but then you tell me you're going to cut the tax on something and cutting a tax on something is going to make the country $1.4 billion. Like, how does that work?
Probably because he gonna lay off people that has something to do with that division of, I'm assuming, ATF, maybe, right?
This is the NFA. Oh no, that's the act.
No, the government agency that deals with firearms.
Oh right, yeah, right.
Right. So maybe that they just maybe it's a division within the ATF that handles stuff like this, right? You're not supposed to have a bulletproof vest. You're not supposed to have a silencer. You supposed to only have semi-automatic and not fully automatic weapons. Stuff supposed to be registered.
Right.
So you got to take classes, kind of like that. That's probably gonna cut some jobs some kind of way.
Right. And also the Republicans they're doing an attack on a judicial shit. What is going on a judicial branch? The first of these outrageous policies was buried in section 70302 of the legislation, would severely restrict federal courts' authority to hold government officials in a contempt if they are violating judicial orders. And I messed that up still, but it's okay. The court ability to hold bad actors in contempt, I don't know why that's in there. Hold bad actors in contempt is a vital enforcement power that judges can use to compel compliance with their ruling. Now, with that being said, so like I said, what they mean by that was, so by not bringing back Kilmar Brea Garcia, after the court says, hey, you need to facilitate his return, that's Trump being held in contempt of court, and they can basically
do it. It's what you're saying.
Because
he was ordered by the court and he didn't do it. So you're saying he could be held in contempt of
court.
Okay.
So there's been a lot of rulings that the Supreme Court has been doing, and Trump has been ignoring their orders and like I said, being held in contempt of court. Like he was trying to hold back, I believe, the state of Maine's like finances for like their education finances for the school year. He was trying to hold their money because they were allowing transgender women to play in women's sports. So Trump was holding their funding for that. So if he would have violated that order, he would have been held in contempt of court. Courts have already ruled at least 170 times against the Trump administration during this time during this administration. So that means, imagine if they don't made 170 rulings, and what they all was, like I said, they all was against them. So if he would have been like, no, I'm not going to do what you say, I'm going to do what I want to do, I'm not going to listen to you. Like our whole system is based on checks and balances. Like there are some things that's like the Supreme Court is supposed to uphold the law of the Constitution. Congress, they control our money. They create laws and they vote on all this other kind of stuff. And we got our president who just what the fuck do our president do? The executive branch, right? He is. I did not know that.
You mean the job description?
Oh, right. Well, yeah. What I do with her? I mean, I don't know what our president do. I mean, he can sign executive orders. He can put policies in order. Oh, he's the commander-in-chief of the army. He's basically like the leader. It's almost like the president can come up with ideas, policies, and laws, and then he can present them. It has to go through Congress. Congress has to approve all these laws and policies and stuff like that the president wants to happen, and then it goes from there. But then if the president put forth a law or policies that goes against the Constitution, it's up to the judicial branch to be like, hold on, wait, you can't do that, that kind of stuff. So it's like all three of them are supposed to be checks and balances to hold each one responsible for their actions. And once again, like I said, I feel like the Congress is a lot of the Republican reason why we got a lot of these dumb policies and stuff that is going through, because we have Republican Congress members who are afraid of Donald Trump, of standing up to Donald Trump and let Donald Trump get his way, and we're going to pass this bill anyway, Just like we had the woman yesterday who she was holding a town hall meeting, and they were talking about medicating Medicare being cut, and then somebody had yelled to her like, people are going to die if you cut the health insurance. And then she said her response was, well, everybody is going to die eventually. Like, this is the type of stuff that we got going on here.
Okay. Welcome to America.
Yeah, welcome to America. It was some other stuff that was going on there, but we're gonna skip down to the corruption within the executive branch. So, so they're talking about doing an investigation into Donald Trump over these pardons. So one of the pardons, Donald Trump pardoned West Virginia Sheriff Scott Jenkins, who was one day away to about to serve a 10-year sentence for accepting bribes and deputizing and giving giving. Oh, who wrote this? I wrote this script. Oh my God, this is horrible. Uh, giving law enforcement badges in exchange for payments. He was convicted of taking $75,000 in bribes. And I'm gonna read a tweet in 1 second. But so basically, this man was not only accepting, like I said, accepting bribes for favors, but these were people just like normal, everyday people that walk around the street, and they would basically give them. He would give them money. I'm gonna give you this badge, and you could basically do what you want to do. That's what this man was doing. This is what he was convicted for. And then Trump goes on to say, this sheriff is a victim of an overzealous Biden Department of Justice and doesn't deserve to spend a single day in jail. He is a wonderful person who was prosecuted by the radical left monsters and left for dead, is what Trump said. Trump said in the post. He also went on to say he is not going to jail tomorrow, but instead we are having a wonderful we will have a wonderful and productive life. What in the hell? And I know that's really what he said because I copied and pasted that part. I didn't type that part. So that's really what Trump said. And then they said that more likely he was pardoned because he was a Trump supporter. And now let's move on to Todd and Julie Chrisley.
So he's not a police officer no more, I'm assuming, right?
No, he's not a police officer.
He's not a sheriff, excuse me. Okay.
Yeah, sheriff no more, no. So on your screens right here, we got Todd and Julie Christie, and I'm gonna talk about Savannah, who's in the middle of the picture in a minute. But if you don't are familiar with them, they had a reality TV show called Chrisley Knows Best for years. I'm putting my foot down. This man is gay. I don't care what nobody say.
I thought they said that.
Well, he married to her, and they keep saying he ain't gay, but this man is gay. He more gayer than gay can be.
I mean, I thought I seen a post some years ago about him saying and confirming that yes. Maybe I'm tripping.
I don't know, because up until he went to jail, they was filming his reality TV show, Married to Her.
That don't mean that they can't be married because he's gay.
I would feed this man walking around talking about he the head HBIC or whatever he was saying. I don't know, but man is gay. Yeah, I don't care what nobody say. There's some people out there that like, no, he isn't gay. He's just feminine. Like, no, he's gay. So,
oh gosh,
Todd and Julie Christie. Todd was serving a 12-year sentence. Julie was serving a 7-year sentence. They were found guilty of submitting fake bank statements and financial records to receive personal loans. They used the money to buy luxury cars, designer clothes, and real estate. They also concealed the millions they made from the reality TV show, and failed to file tax returns, and pay taxes. Todd and Julie Chrisley conspired to defund community banks in Atlanta area to obtain more than $36 million in personal loans. Todd Chrisley filed for bankruptcy and walked away with more than $20 million of these fraudulently obtained loans. They were pardoned after months of lobbying by their daughter, Savannah Chrisley, who was a top Trump surrogate on the Trump campaign trail. Are we seeing a pattern here yet?
Yeah, that's wild.
and then now the next one. He also pardoned a former healthcare executive who stole $10 million from his employees of his nursing home to buy himself a luxury yachts and Cartier. I messed that. It's supposed to be Cartier watches. I messed that up real bad. Uh, he was pardoned after the man. Oh my God. He was pardoned a few weeks. I want to say a few weeks after his mother had donated $1 million to the Trump campaign. So now this is what I was talking about with the title
So if
of
his
the
mother
show
had $1
today.
million, why did he have to stand to like still 10 million? Like she has $1 million to like donate.
Exactly.
So you telling me that was really his money that he gave his mama so she could donate to the Trump campaign, so it didn't look like he did it, but she did it instead?
Mm-hmm.
That's my thought. I don't know.
So
It's just an opinion before I get sued.
so I'm guessing he must have called his mama. I don't know if he. So it's almost like these people are paying money to basically get their case in front of Trump, and then basically it's like, hey, you make this donation or you do this like campaigning for me during the time or whatever. I'm going to pardon you if I get elected, probably, or he probably told Savannah Chrisley, if I get elected, then I will pardon your parents if you come on a campaign with me. And she did speak at the Republican National Convention on Trump's behalf. And then look at this, months later, he's into his presidency. He pardons her mother and father. So it's almost like people are paying for pardons now.
And that's why he's being investigated.
Yes.
Okay. Seems legit.
Okay, so on the last show, I think me and Tina talked about was the sex trafficking and porn
With the whole Diddy trial, like why is like being a prostitute illegal but making porn isn't?
right, and
Hello, Crystal.
they said it's protected under the First Amendment of the Constitution. Basically they look at it as these people are being paid to act.
Yeah.
They're not getting paid for sex, they're getting paid to act because apparently, well, in porn, they do have these little scenarios or stories and they have to do some acting and then they have sex and stuff. So because they're getting paid to basically act while having sex, this is why they are not considered, it's not considered prostitution.
So they getting paid to be an actor and not getting paid for sex.
Wait, say it again?
So they're getting paid for acting and not for having sex, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Man, gone was not okay. Okay.
So they're so now I guess I don't feel like I should like I or anybody should call them adult stars or porn stars. Like they're just actors and actresses. Pretty much. So damn it, I need what is a fucking porn name?
There's a lot of them.
I can't think of none on my head.
Cherokee the Ass is one. She popped up the top of my head.
Eliza Jean. Yeah. So Eliza Jean, you'd be like, oh, my favorite actress is Eliza Jean, or James. Actually, James Dean is actually a real actor. So,
who is Eliza Dean?
I don't know. I just Googled porn star names. Or you could be like, my favorite actor is Danny D. I don't know who that is either. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, you can go and they're actors. Oh, there's a comment. Tina, why you ain't tell me it's a comment? Oh, hey, Crystal, how you doing?
I said, hey, Crystal.
So yeah, porn stars are considered actresses. So there was I'm gonna do this first. The teen story first. Okay, so guys, in case you guys didn't know, back in 2019, there were 3 teens who were killed by a homeowner in Rockdale County, Georgia. So there were 2 different counts of this story. So one of the stories is saying that it was about 4 o'clock 4 a.m. in the morning, and the teens kicked the door in. One of them yelled that they were the police, kicked the door in, and went into this man's house. They came across the owner of the house. They shot at him. The owner shot back, and the report says that he shot back. So basically all 3 got killed, 15, 16, 18. 2 of them were brothers. And then there was another story saying that these teens approached them and at the front of their house, and they were on their front yard, and they was trying to rob them. And one of the teens had a gun and shot at the man, and the man shot back and killed him. So because Georgia has a there's a stand your ground law, the man was not convicted of the teen's death of killing these teens. And now, despite the family, him being clear of these charges, the parents of the deceased teens are now suing, claiming that he shouldn't have shot him, he shouldn't have fired, but witnesses say that the teens did have a gun. So this is like I'm trying to fathom in my head is like, why do you feel like your kids shouldn't have got shot in that when they broke into allegedly or whatever, broke into someone's house and shot at them and thought they wasn't going to get shot back at? And then on top of that, they're like, oh, they out here killing our kids and you're not doing nothing. Like, your kids were committing a crime.
Listen, the first thing is you broke into my home. I don't care about that.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Like, and they committed a crime. They out here robbing people. They literally armed robbery. Like, what do you think was gonna happen? Like,
they came in with force. It's not like they broke a window and snuck in like a cat burglar. They all had masks on and kicked in the door. It says.
Yeah, so it's like why
you think I'm not gonna shoot you?
Right. Why do you think that your kid's death wasn't a justified shooting? It was. Like, I don't know what these parents feel like they owed, or why they feel like this man should go to jail for defending his family. Because who's to say that if he didn't have a gun and y'all don't came here and robbed me, you saw me, you shot at me, my wife came downstairs, I don't know if they had kids in the house, one of the kids came downstairs, you shot the kid, you don't murdered my whole family.
Listen, it don't matter. You kicked in my door with ski mask on.
Exactly.
I don't care. You gonna get shot. And then it's 3 of y'all. I don't know how many more people is outside.
Right. And the thing about it, I wanted like them parents who's filing a lawsuit. I want the judge to ask them, what would you have done if you were in a house with your family and somebody kicked the door in with a gun and started shooting at you? What would you would have did? You would have did the same thing. So I don't understand. Like to me, like, I hate to say it, but you got what you deserved.
Listen, so this is a law, stand your ground law in Georgia. Like, they live in Georgia. They should have known that was a possibility. It's not a secret thing that it's a stand your ground state. It's not a secret thing, right?
Right.
You decide you want to do something like that. In my head, if you got on ski masks and you kicking somebody's door in, I'm going to assume you got a weapon anyway, because you came in that bold and that aggressive. So when you got what was your plans if somebody happened to be there? You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Like, and then I would think, like, if they were, in my head, like, if they were going in there to rob him, right? They did a pretty piss poor job of canvassing and making sure what nobody there to begin with. So it was reckless on all different levels.
Amateur criminals and in the wrong form. That's really all it was.
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh, is it my turn?
Not yet.
Okay.
So, let's talk about government assistance.
That Trump is getting rid of, or
okay, people who abuse the system.
Okay.
Let's say that. So, I can't remember the TikTok account name, but it was this lady on TikTok who was mad because some people, I guess, who follow her account or who just watched a couple of her videos reported her to the state, saying that she was making money off TikTok. She stated that she received close. She stated out of her own mouth on these videos that she received close to $10,000 in government assistance a month. She has not worked in 13 years, which is the age of her oldest child. Uh, she states that she gets a checks for all six of her kids. She states that it's the taxpayer's job to take care of her and her kids. She was also told to, in order to get food stamps and continue to get Section 8 in healthcare, that she will need to get a job. She said that she isn't going to get a job because she claimed to be disabled and can't work. She also stated that she refuses to work and doesn't want to work. She posted another video saying that she was told to sell her 2024 Range Rover, her dream car, to pay back the money that she is owed to the state. She said if she would sell her car, she would lose the $10,000 down payment that she put down on the car. Mind you, this woman lives in Michigan. She also claims, and this is also a woman who claims to be the same woman that wouldn't let her daughter go to Disney World because the girl's father wouldn't take the rest of her kids to Disney World that isn't her kids.
Man, who's gonna take 6 kids to Disney World?
Not that's what you got.
Excuse me?
I'm like, and it's crazy because I remember somebody saying like Disney World for a family of two, and I think for like a 3 or 4 day stay between the price of hotel and the money that you're spending on food and stuff that you're there, like you could easily spend 10,000 just taking like a family of four to Disney World. So imagine taking you as an adult plus six kids.
And then I'm not going by myself with 6 kids. It's gonna have to be at least 2 other adults there with me. I'm
Exactly.
you know, but this is crazy though. I remember when you were first saying something to me about this, and you was like, "Oh, well, she make money off of TikTok, and some people told on her now they're taking away her government assistance." My first reaction was, well, okay, we can now in the day and age where we make money off of social media, right? If that's
Mhm.
something you choose to do, but it's not like a steady stream of income, right? It can go up, it can go down, you can have none at all for a very long time, and she got 6 kids. So I was like, okay, I kind of understand, where this is going. But then when you got to telling me the rest of this, I was like, oh no, yeah, come take that car.
And it's great. I was like 10,000 down on a 20. I said I go to work every day, and I don't even own a Range Rover. I can't afford to buy a Range Rover, and you
Come get the car. Come
you
get the
you
truck.
getting government assistance, food stamps, Section 8, all this stuff, and you got a Range Rover, a base model Range Rover is $80,000.
Well, she better figure something out because she ain't got it no more.
I'm like, and then so like when Trump was saying it, like he was gonna like put like this one thing I do agree with him on is putting a term limit on how long you could be in like Section 8 and stuff like that. I agree. Like it's like I think he was trying to make it 2 years. I feel like maybe 2 years is a little bit too short for somebody to get back on their feet, especially if you somebody that's starting from scratch and you really needed this Section 8 or whatever to help you get to that next step. But like you got people who have been living in Section 8 housing for 20 years, 30 years. They since they were in their early 20s, and now they're 60, 70 years old, still living in that same Section 8 apartment that they got when they were 20. And it's almost like, and you never at one point in your life you got so comfortable with living on Section 8 you didn't think to like try to better yourself, to get more out of life, to accomplish more.
Well, for people like her, right? So you got a lot of disabled people that will live in Section 8 uh,
Right.
homes. So I get that. But I
I
do
mean the
feel
ones who
like,
are not disabled.
so I know here in our state, it used to be a long time ago that you would get welfare checks, right? And for an
Mhm.
undisclosed amount of time. Then they changed that to where you can only get it a total amount of 5 years. So it didn't have to be 5 continuous years. It can be intermittent, right? And that's just the
Mhm.
W-2 checks. That didn't include healthcare and food stamps, right?
Right.
Or Section 8. So I feel kind of like this. It should be something with Section 8. Yes. They should either implement something where after, say, 5 years, your rent starts to increase little by little, right? The amount of money that you're responsible to pay for and
Mhm.
increases while the amount that they're paying towards where you're living starts to decrease gradually. So it would kind of help somebody ease into, you know, being able to cover the costs themselves,
Mhm.
right? So I feel like maybe something like that would be a good idea. Um, but you got to think about, like I said, disabled people. If you're disabled, you can't work, you're on a fixed income, then that should be it. But if you are an able bodied person who can work, then I feel like that should be it because, you know,
But
you got
I
to
wonder
draw
what her
some benefits from.
disability is because I'm at this point. I'm like, when she said that she's been on Section 8 since her first child, so that's 13 years. She hasn't worked in 13 years. And I'm looking at this woman and I'm like, to me, it only look like you look like you're able to go to work. You look like you're able to work to me. She don't look disabled at all. She look like she's able to work. And to me, it just look
Working
like
some with 6 kids, you
and then
know.
and then within the amount of time you've been on Section 8, so the amount of time you've been on Section 8 for 13 years, and within that 13 years, you produce 6 kids.
Mhm.
So all you doing is basically laying up in this house, having sex, having babies, collecting food stamps, getting checks. And then why are you getting checks for every child? Like
Well,
I'm unless you are truly disabled, like are you getting SSI or are you really getting Social Security disability? Like what are you getting here?
mhm.
And like I said, I just don't understand. I really don't. And I personally for I'm like looking at like low income people's like how do you like you don't want to see the world, you don't want to travel, you don't want to know what's out there, you don't want to better yourself, you don't want to have anything to your name, you just want to a lot of these people are basically I'm going to work less hours to maintain me being able to keep my Section 8. Like I'm
It's a lot of
purposely not going to work a certain amount of hours so I can keep Section 8. I'm going to
it's
purposely work a certain amount of hours so that I can keep my food stamps. Like there are some people who be like, oh well, I get rent assistance and I'm only getting rent assistance because I got a kids. Oh, let me have another baby so I can keep my rent assistance. Like, and they really do that.
yeah, there's a lot of people that do that.
And it's just like, at what point are you just gonna be like, be an adult, grow up?
Mhm.
So I'm with Trump with kicking people off the some of these programs. I'm like, I'm for it. Oh, hey, Torian. So Tina is going to go into the trials of Sade Robertson, which is the murder trials that have been going on here in Milwaukee. Tina has a lot of the good details about what's been going on about that, so I'm gonna turn it over to Tina.
Okay, so Sade Robinson was a 19-year-old woman who was found murdered and dismembered in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, across parts of the Wisconsin and Illinois border, actually. Um, she went missing after having a date with an individual by the name of Maxwell Anderson, who is a 34-year-old man. Okay. So all of this happened last year in April. So it's been a year. This is something I've been really interested with kind of keeping up with. So Maxwell Anderson was charged with first degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, and hiding a corpse in arson for Sade Robinson. Okay. So like I said, she went missing after the first date with Maxwell Anderson, who you see on the screen there, on April 1st of 2024. Okay. So her body parts Both legs, right arm, torso, and right breast were found over the next few weeks in multiple sites across Wisconsin and Illinois. Her right arm had washed ashore in Waukegan on May 11th of last year, and one of her legs was found in a park in Cudahy on April 2nd. That had appeared to be sawn off. The other leg and foot had been cut into pieces and was found near a playground. And that playground was not too far from where her car was found set ablaze. Okay. And one other piece of the puzzle is that, yes, that is crazy. Okay. And I got a little something about where the seats and all of that was in the car a little bit later down the line. But also her head has not been located as of today. They have not found her head yet. And I remember that her parents were waiting on all of her to be located so that they could have the funeral and lay her to rest. So that's very sad and unfortunate, right? So, a little bit of timeline of events. So, Anderson met for a first date at the Twisted Fisherman. Okay, that's a restaurant here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This was confirmed by video footage. I was unable to confirm how or when they actually met, but that night, on April 1st, was their first date. And Martell and I were discussing kind of like how we think they met and possibly could have been online. Um, and then he brought up the fact that last year, when this was all kind of new, they did state that the Twisted Fisherman was one of his previous employers, and he had asked her to meet him down there so he could get some tax documents, right? Okay. Now, after they had dinner there, they went to a bar in downtown Milwaukee. This was also confirmed by phone records and video surveillance. So this was a little weird to me at the time because she's 19, right? So they left the restaurant, which is a restaurant, right? So he's of a drinking age. She was not. He could have alcohol beverage. She didn't have to have when it was a restaurant. So it's not really weird. But going into the downtown area, so it was like you going downtown, right? I can't remember where they went, but she's 19, right? So, and I can't remember if we confirmed that she had been given alcoholic beverages or not. I'm not sure, but anyway. So, a lot of stuff happened after they left that bar in downtown Milwaukee. Okay. She had a friend, and they shared each other's locations, right? You can do this with many different types of phones. You can download apps, so on and so forth. So they had some kind of way of communicating their location with each other. Okay. And her friend said on that app that it showed that her phone was near Anderson's home on the south side of Milwaukee. And then it went to, I don't want to say this incorrectly, but Warner Mont Park on the morning of April 2nd, early morning hours. Okay. And then that same morning, a few hours later, the fire department responded to her car fire on the north side of Milwaukee, which was actually her car. That car, yes. So carrying on, then video footage, according to investigators, showed that Anderson was walking away from the fire and getting on a nearby city bus shortly after the fire was set. Yep, that's him on the bus. That looks like him to me. And in every clip, like I was watching the actual video footage of the trial. So in every clip they showed or video surveillance after the fire, like they found some on buses, some stores, etc., right? The person was the same height, build, had the same tan book bag that looked like it was filled, right? We still don't know what was in that book bag. It looked very heavy. Dark hoodie, dark pants, and the hood was up the entire time. Okay. So I believe he walked for a little bit of time, got on the bus. he walked to a bus stop. I think he got on the bus, got off a bus, and got on another bus. I'm not sure, but either way, he got on a bus heading south, and then he ended up asking the bus driver to let him off before the stop because it was closer to his home, right? So it's video footage of all of that, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Also, more video footage was from one of Anderson's neighbors. I don't know if they had cameras on their home or if it was a Ring camera or what, but it showed the night that Anderson and Robinson went on that date. So the night of April 1st, there was activity inside of Anderson's home to about 12:45 on April 2nd. And then at that time, the app or the phone records show that's around the time that Sade Robinson's phone started moving again. And it was traveling around different sites in Milwaukee and then ended up at that park where her leg was found. Now, also at that park was some surveillance footage of a car that looked like Sade Robinson's car going through a gate and kind of down into an area. I think it was kind of some like, I don't know, service station, I guess, for the park over there. And it was some video footage of it looked like a person had kind of went down on a bluff a little bit because of whatever they were trying to throw got stuck on the rocks, right?
Mhm.
And then it was also testified at the trial that the debris that they found there by that gate matched the car of Sade Robinson. Okay. So Anderson ended up being arrested during a traffic stop near his home on the morning of April 4th, and he has been in custody ever since and held on a $5 million bond. Okay. So the majority of the testimony in this trial, it started on this past Wednesday. The majority of the testimony in this trial has been more so of officers and investigators that had been involved in collecting the evidence, and they're kind of like the prosecutors are setting a timeline of events type of thing,
Mhm.
which is important because honestly, the prosecutors, if they they haven't let on that they have any DNA evidence connecting him to any of these places. They, from what I understand, they didn't find any DNA evidence connecting her to like the inside of his house, and it
Mhm.
wasn't. They haven't found a murder weapon. I never found out what the actual cause of death was. Did you hear?
Right. I don't have no idea really what the cause of death. I don't think they ever said what her cause of death was.
I never found that out. We just were told that she had been severed. Different parts of her body, especially like her leg and I believe like the foot area, they said it looked like it had been clean cut with some type of tool sawed off. Um, so I'm not really sure how she actually passed before the dismemberment. Um, So about that car that we were showing you earlier, her car. Um, so the state decided to do a little experiment. So they had two officers. One was a female that was roughly about the height of Sade Robinson. The other one was a male, roughly about the height of Maxwell Anderson. So they thought it was weird how the driver's side seat was positioned, that it was too far away from the steering wheel, right? So they did an experiment. They went to a car dealership, found a car that was very similar to hers, and then they had adjusted the seat to about the position where it was found when it was found like that. Um, and they kind of concluded that it would have been too far back for Sade Robinson to drive.
Mm.
The defense attorney kind of rebutted that's this information with did you test it with people who are there were different heights in between, and they had
So with a quick research, they don't have a cause of death for her. They were just saying when her body would, I guess, when a torso was found, they took a DNA off the torso to figure out who she was, and that was it. They never really did a cause of death, and I think the only other thing they did was what you gonna talk. You know, you're gonna talk about that part later. So, but yeah, they didn't release a cause of death.
Okay. So I was checking out the story on Fox 6 News. Is a local channel here that has been covering in depth. They did a piece with a retired homicide detective from the MPD here that has worked high profile cases like Jeffrey Dahmer's case. Everybody, I'm assuming most people have heard about Jeffrey Dahmer. He was a serial killer here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And he stated that he did not believe that the person who committed the murder was a serial killer based on basically how sloppy of a job the crime was carried out. So I thought that was um interesting. Of course, he's not he's coming from a side of like police science, right? And not he's not like a profiler or anything, but I thought that was still interesting.
Actually, see that by how sloppy it was, it would be a serial killer because they don't get sloppy until they don't kill a few people, and
Right.
then they start or something happen or something like a quinky dink just happens to happen where something throw them off their game and they start to get sloppy, or they get two in their head like I'm never going to get caught, and then they get to the point where they're two in their head, and then that's when they get sloppy. But that's like after a few deaths. For this to be just one death like this, yeah, this definitely wasn't a serial killer making.
And I mean, I'll be honest, I can't recall any time since the Dahmer trial where we've had
People
something like
did
this
things like that.
happen. No. And then with that being said, with how sloppy it was carried out, most people think sloppiness equates into like a crime of passion, right? Somebody was upset. It wasn't intentional, but that's not what the DA is charging him with. They charging him with first degree intentional homicide. So they're saying that he planned that. So with that being said, Fox News did talk about a confidential informant supposedly that knows Maxwell Anderson and I don't know in what capacity, but this person has been inside Maxwell Anderson's house. Um,
Mhm.
Stated that he said he was gonna kill her, and when he went into what whoever the CI is went into the basement, it was made up like with a lot of saws and whatnot down there, which you would think you would find in the basement. You know what I'm saying? Tools and stuff like that. But the CI mentioned that, so it makes me feel like it was set up a little different that make you notice, like, oh, you just don't have random toolboxes down here. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
um that was interesting. Also they have been talking, Fox News have been talking to a current practicing criminal defense attorney here in the city. Um, and he was talking about how right now the defense attorney is trying to kind of set the tone that anybody could have committed this crime and not specifically Maxwell Anderson because of the fact that they can't really tie him to the scenes and stuff like that. Like we don't really know where she was murdered, right?
Mhm.
We don't have the murder weapon, and then really don't have any motive, right? Why would he want to do something like that unless he was mentally unstable, right?
Right.
Um, so then he brought up his attorney's name is Cotton. Um, he brought up the fact that when they had searched Sade Robinson's apartment, they have found some drugs locked in a safe. So he was trying to say that maybe she was killed over the drugs. So like they found some marijuana and some pills. There was some like methamphetamines, but it looks like the pills. were field tested to be positive for methamphetamines, but they never sent anything to the lab because the police officers didn't think it was motivated, like the murder was motivated by whatever drugs they found in her house. Okay. And then also they did a toxicology report on her and they did not find any drugs in her system, not even weed. Okay. So the defense attorney feels like he brought that up. I mean, the defense attorney that they were interviewing felt like Maxwell Anderson's attorney had brought that up because it might be setting grounds for an appeal after whatever the court's decision is. And that's all I got right now. So it looks like they just playing out the timeline of events. So I'm really interested on how the prosecutors will try to nail this on him. I'm interested in if they have any other evidence that we don't know that the media hasn't reported on yet. So it's all going to be interesting. Oh, and by the way, his dad ended up selling that house right after he got arrested, which was really weird and very fast.
And I think they sold it to one of those companies that just go around buying property and just rent them out. I forgot what they call them, kind of companies.
So it was weird, and they said that it had nothing to do with him getting arrested.
Because I feel like, because I remember you saying something last year about how you don't think he should have been allowed to sell the house, so that way when the trial started, the jury did a walkthrough of the property to try to get like in his head and what happened.
Yeah. And I still feel the same way. I feel like the jury should have been able to come in, and I really don't know what kind of evidence they got. I don't know what the police officers took pictures of when they went to go investigate, but that's a little bit different than actually being able to go to a potential crime scene. And I feel like the only reason why, if I can remember correctly, that his father was able to sell that property is because they couldn't say it was a crime scene.
Right.
So I thought all of that was pretty interesting. On to Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Brother Love, Sean Combs, whoever you want to call him, okay? So his RICO trial is still going strong. This week I feel like it was two main takeaways was the testimony from Capricorn Clark, who was a former assistant, and then another former assistant by the name of Mia. And I was like, why all his assistants? Because last week I was talking about the other assistant, right? So they called Capricorn Clark to the stand. That she introduced herself. So it says she was born in San Francisco. She moved to LA. She started working for Def Jam, then Death Row Records. Okay, now Death Row Records, if everybody remember, that was more West Coast. So Suge Knight, Tupac, you know what I'm saying? Those people. Okay. So she moved out there and started working for them. They asked her what was her relationship to Suge Knight. She said, he is the father of my friend's child. And then they asked her, then you started working for Sean Combs. She said, yes. She pointed him out. He had on a blue sweater. She said she worked for him from 2004 to 2012. And then they turned around and asked her, was she kidnapped? And she said, yes. And I was like, wait a minute, hold on. What? Kidnapped? Right? So I was like, this is interesting. They asked her when they first met. She met him when she first got to New York City in 2002. Said they were just platonic friends. A headhunter said that she should work for him as a personal assistant. She said she worked for him until 2006. They asked her what she did. She said, I shadowed him from Wake Up. And then they said, then what? Then she became the head of women's for Sean John. Then she did that for a year. Then the global brand director for Sean Combs, name and likeness, due diligence to grow the brand. She said she was terminated until 2016 for Cassandra Ventura, aka Cassie. I didn't understand why she said that, but then the stuff just kept piling up. Okay. Um, let's see. So she was asked if she worked in a building. It was Bad Boy Records office. She says, yeah, they moved in that building in 2005. She said, on your first day, where did Sean Combs take you? She said, he took me out in Central Park after dark along with Uncle Polly, who was part of his security team. She said he looked like a linebacker. They asked her, what did Mr. Combs tell you in the park? He supposedly said, quote unquote, that since I work for Suge Knight, if anything happened, he might have to kill me. I was like, what is happening? Right? They asked her, how did she take it? She said, seriously. She said, how did you react? She said, I don't have anything to do with that stuff. All right. So that was that, right? She talked about some people, a D-Rock, who was a friend of Biggie Smalls. Then they asked her, did they ever seen Sean Combs with a gun? She said, yes, in my home, which is weird. So again, it says, Mr. Combs told Chris Lighty he had a gun. He had a problem with 50 Cent. I was like, where did 50 come in at? Okay. It was a lot going on, right? He was mad about her knowing Suge Knight. Then he had a problem with 50. I was like, oh my goodness, what is happening? Then they turned around and asked her what she ever accused of stealing. She said, yes, jewelry. It had been given to me. It was on loan. She said it went missing. They said it went missing. She said yes. Let's see. She said, what did you do? She said she called some people and told them to lock down the house. What did Uncle Polly do? He questioned me for 3 hours. Then you went home. Uncle Polly took her home, searched her house, and then supposedly took her to something on 1720 Broadway. It was dilapidated. It was being fixed up, but I didn't know that. Uncle Polly took me to the 6th floor. The door was locked behind us. There was a 6-foot folding table and a heavyset man that was there. That supposedly wanted her to take a lie detector test about this missing jewelry, okay? And they asked her, what did they tell you what happened if you failed the lie detector test? And they told her that they were going to throw her in the East River.
What?
Yeah, man, it was getting pretty heavy.
Okay. Oh, what, y'all?
That's Capricorn Clark. Or is that Mia?
Oh, I have no idea. Whoever they was trying to hide the identity of.
Mia is the one that we haven't seen a picture of. Okay, so Capricorn Clark, who managed Cassie's image and career, said, now this is the whole Kid Cudi thing, right? So it's starting to get a little sticky. So Capricorn Clark found out about Cassie and Kid Cudi. She took Cassie to purchase a burner phone when she found out. She told Cassie that she said Cassie told her about the relationship via text, which was a bad idea because Diddy paid for both of their phones. Now, I don't know how Puff Daddy found out about Cassie and Kid Cudi. Maybe he was screening or looking at text messages. I don't know, but Capricorn Clark said they went to Best Buy because she was scared that Cassie was going to get them both killed. So apparently on the morning of December 22nd, 2011, she and Diddy banged on her apartment door holding a firearm and asking questions about Kid Cudi. She said Diddy was visibly furious after finding out about Cudi and Cassie and said, get dressed, we're going to kill this N-word. Okay.
Oh.
Clark said she didn't want to go, and Diddy replied, I don't give a F what you want, get dressed. What is happening? Clark said once they arrived at Cudi's home, Diddy and his security guard, Ruben, entered the house because remember he said his house had gotten broken into. His dog was like locked in the bathroom or something. So they went into his house through the front door. Clark says she was left in the car, so she called Cassie on her burner phone to tell her. Cassie happened to be with Cuddy at the time, which is what Kid Cudi testified and what Cassie both testified, okay? Then she said Diddy came back to the car, took her phone, and called the last number. So that's how they ended up talking on the phone. So then she saw Kid Cudi driving up. Mr. Combs saw my face and said, "That's that N-word right there." We drove off and saw police driving the other way towards Cudi's house.
Wow.
So Clark testified Diddy ordered her to call Cassie and tell her that Diddy had me and wouldn't let me go. So this is where the kidnapping part come in at, until Cassie arrived. So he was holding Capricorn Clark hostage until Cassie would come to him.
Wow. Okay.
Clark said Cassie agreed to asked her to pick her up. Once Clark picked up Cassie, she said they both went to Diddy's house. He allegedly told them not to speak to the police and asked them to convince Kid Cudi not to tell the police he was involved in the break-in. So then after that, Capricorn Clark testified that when they arrived and after he said that, he started to repeatedly kick and beat Cassie. And she said she saw Diddy coming at Cassie with 100% full force and quotation marks, kicking her in the back while she was in a fetal position. Clark said Diddy told her, "If you jump in, I'm going to F you up." She added that Diddy's security guards did not intervene.
Wow.
So then Capricorn Clark said she called Cassie's mom and told her about it. Mm-hmm. And she said to her mother, quote, "He beating the SHIT out of your daughter. I'm in over my head. Please help her. I can't call the police." So after the break-in, Cudi's was set on fire. Capricorn Clark said she was contacted by the arson investigators, but hung up because she just wanted this to be over. Clark said Diddy questioned her about how much she knew about Cassie and Cudi's relationship, and Diddy allegedly said, "I should kill you, B-words." Yep, that's Kid Cudi. That is his car that they cut a hole in the roof and put a Molotov cocktail in there. Yeah, I guess some more stuff. Okay. So then it kind of shifted over to Mia, who is the assistant that we don't see. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm having some technical difficulties here. Bear with me. So I've never seen a picture of Mia. Every time I read about Mia, her name is in quotation marks, so I'm not even sure if that's her real name. But she is testifying. She was the next person to start testifying, I believe. Thursday, I believe that's when she started testifying. And it was pretty wild. It was pretty wild. And I'm trying to get to the information, y'all. Hold on, bear with me. So supposedly this is the assistant that was sexually assaulted by him. Okay. So looks like she was his personal assistant. She had only been there a few months. She had went to a party at a penthouse. He wanted to talk to her in the kitchen. He had everybody else clear out of the kitchen. Then he said to her that they basically were going to be able to work closer. He poured us 2 shots of vodka, each for his birthday. She said, "What did you do with the shots?" She said she took them. They hit me hard. Usually I could take it easily. So it made me feel like she was kind of saying like she felt like she was drugged or something. Okay. She said she couldn't focus. His face was closed. He put his arm underneath my dress. He kissed me. She said, "Did you want him to?" "No." "Were you able to say no?" She said, "I was shocked. I froze. I didn't process what was happening." Next morning, she woke up in a chair in a penthouse. They said the prosecution said, well, how did you look up to him like an older adult, like he was a boss or a king? And she said, what they asked her, what were your expectations? I thought it would never happen again, a huge accident, right? So I guess this is why she didn't say anything, but it continued, okay? Like over and over and over. So there were other times that happened. She said, I had to carry his bags to his room. Why is a woman carrying the bags? I don't understand. What did he say? Well, I'm assuming it's a woman.
I ain't got no clue.
I'm assuming it's a woman. Wait, okay. So I had to carry bags to his room. Downstairs was Uncle Paulie. What did he say to you? And then they objected that. And then it was so fast. He used one hand to get his pants undone. He put himself inside me, meaning he put his penis inside of you. And they asked, how did you feel? I just froze, terrified and confused and ashamed and scared. How long? Very quick, but it felt like forever. But he wouldn't leave a job unfinished. Is that when it would end? Yes. The next time at the Beverly Crest house, I was on his bedroom closet floor putting things in a bag. Then he was in a closet. Then he pulled his penis out, grabbed his head, and then basically forced Mia to give oral sex. They asked, how did you feel? Like trash, scared, and ashamed. How long did it last? Very fast. Were there other sexual assaults? Yes. One time they were flying in a private jet. And it happened again. So it was like continuing over and over and over, right? So that was the prosecution questioning her. So then when the defense cross-examined her, basically they were coming at her like, why did you let it continue? Type of thing. Why did you let it continue? Why you didn't call the police? Why didn't you quit? All of those type of questions. And that's where her line of testimony ended. Okay. So I do have a little sprinkle of something that I think I sent to you, because a lot of people have been like, I don't see where the RICO charges are. Where are the RICO charges? We're trying to figure it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to convict Diddy on RICO charges, the feds only need to prove 2 out of the 8 crimes listed. So these are the 8 crimes: kidnapping and variations, arson and attempt conspiracy, bribery of a witness, attempt and conspiracy, witness tampering, forced labor and aiding and abetting, sex trafficking, aiding and abetting, prostitution, transport, and drug distribution, and conspiracy, aiding and abetting. So it kind of sounds like he got a lot of that going on, right? And he only has to be convicted, found guilty of 2 of the 8. Okay.
Mm.
So they
going down.
So to trigger a RICO charge, a person must commit at least 2 qualifying crimes known as predicate offenses within a 10-year period, and these acts must be connected to an enterprise, Bad Boy Records.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Okay. And that's sorry, y'all. And that's all. That's all I got for y'all on the cases. I don't have any updates about the Megan and the Tory Lanez situation. When they talking about they had some more evidence saying that he didn't do it and all of that. I haven't heard anything else. I also haven't seen any updates on how he's doing health wise, because he had been stabbed numerous amounts of times.
What?
And yeah, you didn't know that? He got
no.
Yeah, he got stabbed quite a few times.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know.
Yep. And maybe that's the reason why we haven't heard anything else about his lawyers trying to bring extra evidence to light. So, I don't want to see anybody hurt. So I hope he makes a speedy recovery. But I am interested to see what it is that they got. That's all I got for y'all.
All right. Well, with that being said, due to the time, we're going to head straight into final thoughts. So here we go. So I'm going to kick off final thoughts again this time because Tina always fussed about going first. So my final thoughts is one, we need to make sure that we are picking the right elected officials to represent us. And then two, parents, if your child go out and commit a crime and do something stupid and get themselves killed doing participating in that crime, it is not the person who shot them fault that your child is dead. Stop trying to pin your child's stupidity and immaturity on other people when it's your job to make sure that they got their head on straight. And it being a uh what they used to tell us at school, uh a cultivated, innovative thinker, lifelong learner, and productive citizen. That is your job to teach your child to do, and that's what you should be doing. And that is my final thoughts. Oh, wait, and we need to stop all the corruption. And if you need money to get pardoned, just send some money to Trump, and he'll pardon you. And that's my final thought.
Well, okay. My final thought starts off with please stop being lazy and go get a job. Or
That too, you lazy heifers, go get you a job.
stop having children you can't take care of. I mean, let's just be logical in this sense. Taking care of a family is not as affordable as it was years ago when having a large family was just easier to have. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have a large family if that's something that you want to, but as my daddy told me, you should only have as many kids as you can afford. Okay? Because taking care of other human beings is very expensive. And guess what? You don't get to stop being a parent when they turn 18 years old. Okay? That's going to be your child for life. They always going to need some type of guidance or money or anything, a roof over their head during the course of their lifetime. Okay? So we just need to put on our thinking caps and stop being stupid. Okay, stop trying to get over on people. It's not a good look. As far as politics, Martell and I have talked about it. I hate it. Um, it's every day I wake up, it's something extra going on, and I don't even want to feed into it because I feel like it's distracting us from something else that they actually really trying to do. And then it's just gonna pop out, and we all gonna be like, "Damn, that's what they was doing." But like he said, you want to get elected officials into offices that are transparent, that are truthful about what they want to do with the country, not making all these grandiose claims about what they can change in 4 years when we all have seen it time and time again. It is really difficult to change an entire country in 4 years. And I don't know how many months it's been. This is what finna be June. It's going on what, not almost about 6 months, right? That he's been put into the office technically after the inauguration.
It's about 5 months.
Okay, well, middle of June it'll be 6 months, right? Am I right?
You're right.
Okay. So and just to think, like almost 3.5 years left of this, like what else could possibly go wrong at this point?
World War
Like,
Five, because it's gonna be so bad that he gonna skip over 3, 4, 5, and 3 and 4 and just go straight to 5. Hell, we might go to World War 10 messing around with him.
oh
It's
gosh.
gonna be that bad.
And it's just sad. And I agree with Martell, as being a parent, you need to teach your child between right and wrong, and don't patronize people when they are wrong. Like, it's you wrong, and they need to learn from their mistakes. And that is my final thought. What was that? Can't hear you.
I was muted. Yay! Final thoughts.
What was that popped up on my screen?
And with that being said, thank you
You
all.
don't have no kind of focus. I'm sorry, y'all. He was pushing buttons while I was talking. He really was. And I was trying to hold it together.
I was not.
That's why you got to watch us live, because stuff like that.
I was not. But with that being said,
Mm.
thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Same Cast Different Day Podcast. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, which is Same Cast Different Day Podcast. Instagram is going to be, you can type in SCDD Podcast, along on TikTok to find our TikTok and Instagram pages. Crystal B she runs all of our social media accounts for the podcast, so you can find her too. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Same Cast Different Day Podcast, and we'll see you all on the next episode.
Why? See what I'm saying?